like I promised in my last stream, I'm trying out something new. I'm trying out low latency instead of normal. And I guess we're gonna see how much that is on my system. Jesus, that's low quality. Okay, good now. Well, it doesn't immediately break, and it's not like I expected to do so. Let me go to a safer place on Discord to make sure I don't like show any DMs and stuff, which I like to do. Let's actually do this a different way. Yes, so you won't see it as well. Okay. Let me show you something. Let's go to the terminal and gh repo list. You can use the GitHub CLI to look at your repos. And if we look at them, alright, we have dot files, GAF, binaries. Well, that is good. But then, as we scroll, we have a lot of CS homework stuff. And it's stuff that I made on my C# course. There's a lot of them. Then, if we scroll even more, we have a bunch of other repositories, which are essentially for video scripts, like way in the past. So a bunch of stuff that is just kind of cluttering my GitHub page. So what I want to do today is move the less useful ones into one, or rather in this case in two repositories, so they're better organized that way, so that when you go to my repositories you actually see at least somewhat useful stuff. So let's start with going to CS proj. It's super interesting that it doesn't find it. It's surprising, honestly. CS proj. Now it will. So in here, what we're gonna do is create another tab, actually. GH repo list. Let's look at it again. So I can do the first step of deleting a bunch of directories that I don't need, like, at all. So what would they be? I have PowerArgs. It's a fork for a PR that maybe will never be merged, because PowerArgs is like abandoned, I guess. But maybe, just maybe. Octusi. Main and ting are useful, potentially tied functions. I think I referenced them in some video. So I'll keep them. So algorithm practice is a repo that I know for sure I don't need. So let's gh repo delete, and I don't have that, because delete and then -- yes. So let's go to my config.fish and actually add it. So gh repo gh repo, and then we do d, and delete -- yes. We go to our terminal, we reload it, and gh repo delete, because we don't need it. For fuck's sake. It's somewhat annoying how, like, just give me all the privileges. Stop giving me the smallest one. It's annoying. Having to like refresh my auth again and again, it's so annoying. Okay, let me make you blind for a second so we can do this. And that is, I guess, why I'm the most annoyed. The fact that like this shit happens on stream. Ah, it's super annoying. And then once I do that, it also asks me for my fucking phone. Terrible, honestly. Right, boom. And it should be like, oh, all right. I come back. CLS. Okay, I can unblind you. Let's try this again. GH repo delete, yes. That's great. What else do we have here? So, algorithm practice, I don't need. Same thing goes for toolkit. That was supposed to be a parent repository with all of my C# tools, which I never really ended up making. Lol. Or rather, I am making them bit by bit, but they're in their own repositories because they are whole projects. Access modifiers tutorial, interesting. That we'll have to remember to put in the video creation or whatever repository. Tweemoji SVG is a funny one because turns out by having it, I'm breaking the license of Twitter, which is funny. But I guess, whatever, like, the company is gonna die, so I'm super fine. I highly doubt I'll ever need this ever again. And if I do, I'll probably rewrite everything anyway, so. Cool, so we're done deleting stuff that I definitely don't need. Now, we're gonna do something. We're gonna look at my resume. Yes. Yeah, so, no, not in my projects. So, I do use Web API. Okay, so, Lumitron. Lumitron I can just straight up delete. I haven't finished it. And don't really intend to. So it's another deletion. Okay, Web API I just checked. I do use auth. I also use. Okay. MVC I probably use. I don't, interestingly. That's actually surprising. Let's look at it, because I would imagine it to be like somewhat useful, I guess, or somewhat good enough to put on my resume. I guess not. GH repo view. You can use GH repo view to look at this, like at the description, at the README, and then you have a link to it too, which is very convenient. So what's up with it? We have core startup, middlewares. That sounds like a lot of stuff. Okay, so that is our usual stuff. Interesting, why did I not add it? Oh. Okay. Here, because I have nothing, that's fair. What about MVC startup? So this seems to have quite a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe because it doesn't work. But then again, most of my study projects don't work because they're not really supposed to be working. Maybe I just didn't have enough to say about it. Well, okay. Let's just add it to the list of stuff that I want to put in a different thing. Okay. Live spot, I just noticed I do use. CS homework, YouTube explode. Now, by all accounts, it's pretty useless as far as I remember it. So YouTube explode is basically this project is like you can download videos from YouTube, which you can do with YTDLP. As a matter of fact, that project uses YTDLP to, if I remember correctly, also create a terminal application. So then I'm just unsure what was the idea behind that project. I guess it is what it is. Do we have a F? Uppercase? Yes, we do use it. Social network. I doubt that I do. I do. Interesting. All right then. Database, probably. Yes. CS homework solid, I probably don't. Yep, thought so. So this is another project that we'll have to move. And we're gonna do so in a kinda interesting way. We're gonna create a new directory called CS homework, clone all the repositories there, delete the Git directories inside of them, push everything, and then delete the initial repositories, which is a pretty clean. What is Russian TXT? It's my list of projects, basically like quote-unquote work experience, written in Russian, which is why it's called Russian, because it's in the directory called projects. It's a whole another thing. Like, let's go to job and we can tree. So we have cover letters, PDF version of my resume, my projects in both English and Russian, my resume in English and Russian, and then replies. Basically, replies is where I sent my resume and what is their reply. Okay. Solid, yeah, solid. Testing, I'm pretty sure I don't use. Yeah, I'm Russian. Unfortunately. Very unfortunately. No, and I don't actually, I recommend no one to learn Russian. And it's not because, like, I'm trying to gatekeep Russian. No, I'm just trying to make you not waste your time. It's such a bad language. And it's also useless. Yeah. So you're Russian too, I imagine. Or are you? Oh, you are. That's cool. There's like a surprising amount of Russians in the like IT/programming sphere. It's pretty interesting. Link is another project. Скажи что-нибудь на русском. Окей, я могу сказать несколько штук. Знаешь, когда тебя просят сказать что-то на другом языке, ты вдруг становишься очень плохой в этом языке, даже если это твой нативный язык. Блять, как по-русски, не помню. Я. Like, right? I feel very comfortable speaking English. Yet, whenever someone asks me, like, oh, say quote unquote something in English, I'm like, well, fuck. Like, you got me. Like, what do I say? Uh, from Russia. I'm from Russia. So nothing like quirky. Just default Russian, I guess. I should probably translate. The person is asking me where I'm from. Collections. Yeah, I thought so. Where I live in a very small and very shitty town that I'm desperately trying to leave. Not succeeding necessarily, gonna be honest. But like, oh well. So yeah, I'm still living in Russia. Yeah, I still live in Russia. I want to move. Honestly, any country that doesn't speak Russian would be fine. But ideally, I think Netherlands. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to move to America. But god damn, that country is like surprisingly transphobic since recently, so kind of switched up, and now I want to live like in a more reasonably good country. The person is saying that I speak a bit weirdly in Russian, not like a native, which is a huge compliment to me. Thank you. Like, I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm not like great at Russian because I don't really want to be. To be fair, I probably use more English than Russian on a day-to-day basis. Like streaming, I talk with people on Discord in English. I think mostly in English. I talk mostly in English. And so on and so forth. Yes, algorithms. Are your parents Russian? Во-первых, родилась. Во-вторых, yes, both of my parents are Russian. Yeah, like I'm super Russian. Not sure what to say there. Algo. Right, I'll already search for this. Yeah, I'm like pretty default. No like interesting situation where maybe, oh, I fucking was born in France and then my parents made a horrible decision and moved to Russia for some. No, I just was born in Russia and still am in Russia. One cool Russian that is honestly an icon is Tsoding. He's also a streamer, and well, if you're watching me, there's a higher chance that you know him because he's more known overall. Понял, немного шокирует простого человека. Мне нравятся твои видео, поэтому это даже интереснее. Это круто. Yeah. I agree. I really made a fucking calculator in C#, and it's not even like good. Yeah, same thing about exceptions. Definitely don't have that in my resume. This probably isn't either. Yeah, but like, as you discover stuff, as you discover the world and how different people are, the concepts that feel new at first then become very obvious, like being trans, for example. Because there was a point where that was weird to me as well. And I spent a lot of time very suspiciously being very interested in trans people, like trying to, I guess, accept that they exist and feel normal about them. And I was doing that because, oh, it turns out I'm trans, huh? So in terms of CS homework, I think we're done. And everything else, yes, so everything else is a video project. So there's a reason why I was collecting all of those, not just to remember them, but because we're going to make a command. So we do norm start from the start. Who could have guessed? And then gh repo clone, and we add a space. Cool, right? So yeah, we go to csproj. Wait, no, that. And we create a repository here, gh repo create clone public MIT called CS homework that will combine all of them into one thing. Boom, we press enter, wait for it to be cloned. It's actually faster than I thought. CS homework, boom. So we have it here. Now we go to VS Code, we hink G capital G, and actually I should show you the keys that I'm pressing. We paste, and we essentially clone everything. It's actually kind of cool to look at, like clone and clone and clone and clone. You unfortunately cannot put multiple repositories as subcommands, which is pretty annoying. Like you have to have separate commands. Right, so CS homework, we have all these, and what we're gonna do is remove for real any directory .git, and when we expand it, nothing happens. It's fine, right? It should be fine. We wouldn't see, which is fine. Yes, I do that. I do leave the VODs up after the stream. So yeah, goodbye. Okay. What I want to do is tree. I was thinking about it, and it wouldn't actually show me the information I'm trying to see. Alright, let's just ls. Oh, I can ls all of them. Goodbye. I'm not sure why I could ls license, to be fair. So yeah, they do not have Git repositories because we just deleted them. So yeah, my shell expansion worked exactly like I thought it would, and that's very convenient. So let's git stage everything. 179. That's crazy. Let's GCR then. And GCR, what it does is this command basically. But actually, before we do that, let's dnng to make sure. And now let's GCR. Actually, let's remove for real anything but now that git ignore, because we put the git ignore here. We don't need it in every other project now. Okay, and now we can GCR. Boom. So we can press Shift-Alt-L to go to the link. And it should now contain like everything. Pretty nice. I could potentially then move my other projects that are in my resume into here, but I have a weird issue. Some of my projects in C# are more impressive than the others. Like, this is not really interesting to look at, yet I don't necessarily want to just delete it. This is maybe cool. This doesn't even work. And so on and so forth. And the other C# projects that are in my resume, they're like actually good. So I want to separate that out and hide these pretty much. They're just somewhat like unfinished, and I don't really intend to finish them. I would rather work on actual projects. I wonder, by the way, what's the delay for the chat? Let me try to open this stream from another one of my accounts. Look up my channel and print a message. Because it turns out I can afford low latency. Let's type a message. And how fast do I see it? Very fast, which is like, I don't trust it. Interesting. But it appeared on stream a bit later, in like 2 seconds, I think, which is stupidly fast. Right, so we're basically done here. We can go up and remove, actually remove for real CS homework, because we successfully pushed it and we no longer need it. Now, instead of clone, we select this and delete -- yes. Then we also copy those, paste, and delete all of them. Boom. So now, if we look at our directories, there are quite a bit less of them. So what do we have here? We have CS homework, all right. Then we have CS homework web API, Oath, LiveSpot, social network, EF database, and Telegram bot. the actual projects that I would want to show. Alright, now the more difficult part. Doing the same thing for my video projects. So starting from access modifiers tutorial, pretty sure we have nothing else that we would put there. Yeah, doesn't seem that way. Basically what I have to do is go to the videos. Hi! I changed the latency to be low latency instead of normal. So I guess let's see how much faster it is. My system seems to be fine from it. Way back in the day, what I used to do is I used to make videos. Like, first of all, I write a script. I wrote scripts for videos. Then I record the audio. Then I make the screenshots, which I guess I make screenshots while I write the script. I record the audio and then put screenshots as the video, one after another, in such a way that it looks like I'm just editing everything. It was very slow and painful and took a lot of effort, but the videos were really good. In response to the previous incident of my improper manner of written expression, I have come to the conclusion that I should elevate my vocabulary. Will you have a fucking gimmick every stream? That's hilarious. Right, so I thought it would be a good idea to put those scripts on GitHub, so people maybe who needed a script for one reason or another could access it. Good idea, but it creates a lot of repositories. I cannot confirm nor correct that supposition. Supposition, what a word, wow. What I wonder is access modifiers tutorial. I think this is a C# thing. Нет, блин, C dull. That wasn't even good. Right, so basically what I should do here is go to certain videos, check the links that they use, and once I move everything, update the links. That seems simple. So let's open the C# one. So we can find one of the 3 videos, right? Oh, this video was a disaster. How is it 30 minutes long? Maybe I like made it while making the video, maybe. I have no clue. Let's yeah, let's mute. Oh, ew. I don't like this theme anymore. That's how my C# looks? That's crazy. It looks so unprofessional. That's strange to say, but it feels like that. Right, so we have this. And in some cases, what I do is I reference the same link in multiple videos, and that I'm just not going to think about. If I do, oh well, you know? Right. So it's actually pretty convenient in the sense because I have a whole playlist on my videos from my previous channel, and that is where I had this. So setting up VS Code 4, we open this, then clip send. Probably has very outdated code, but I don't necessarily care. What's important is that the idea is explained well, and if it isn't, I'm not going to make another hotkey video. Static, oh, here it is. Static variables, how to install. How to install. How do we install Indeed? Is it not this? It's possible. Or maybe I'm just not seeing it. Huh. Like, what's up with that? How to install, huh? I think that is a script to an old video that is now unlisted, therefore it doesn't exist anymore. That's probably it. Because the how to install video on AutoHotkey, the most recent one that I made, is not scripted. Have you considered manifesting a cane in your .file management paradigm? What? A cane sounds so hilarious considering this gimmick of yours. No, by the way. No, I like it. It's pretty simple. My scripts define all the symlinks that I need in every single place, so it's actually pretty convenient. It works well. And I think any other option will bring more annoyances than it will helpfulness. Especially considering how often you have to make some settings different depending on your distro. And I try to only carry dot files that are supposed to work on any distro, or with reasonable, easy changes that still explain the idea, I guess. I'm pretty sure that's what I do here. Function objects. God. That was such a good video, like, for the time. Like, I was proud of it. I think, like, in this video I explained the concept of function objects pretty fucking well. And it's like a very core concept in AutoHotkey v2. Clock, I probably don't even... why would I delete it, right? It's definitely not a... Well, it's not a bad video, it's just that I then rewrote the code to be much better and didn't bother to update it, and it's like, eh. Right, so clock, forget about using WinSpy now. Now, I wanted to replace this video for a while. And I wanted to do that, and continued on to want to do that, and then I switched to Linux. So now it's not that I can't, it's that I won't. So now this video is permanently outdated. It has shit code. By the way, I'm not sure why I'm copying them. Because I'm not, I haven't even copied everything here. Using the mighty manager of the home, you can also declare which programs you wish to possess. Usted. Bro started speaking Spanish of relying on the hellish system that is imperative management of packages. Well, hold up. I think it would be more hellish if I just say I want these packages, get them somehow, and don't participate in the process. That's going to be more hellish than being at least somewhat restricted but knowing the details of how you got a package and what it's managed by. So right now, all the packages that I have, I'm pretty sure, are installed with either Pacman or Paru. And I have that, like, certainty. If I was using a system that I basically said, get me this package, then I don't really know how I'm getting it, from which source, from which, like, to which destination too. I don't know, it feels like it would be more messy, not less. Forget about using WinSpy. So almost all of them. And fat arrow functions. They're called very funnily. Right, let's redo the command. Ah, but you see, it relies on a specific manager of packages to which, inside the configuration piece of the manager of the home, god damn, you can specify which version or variant to make use of. I don't know, that doesn't seem particularly enticing. Like, I can already install pretty much everything from either the Arch repository or the AUR. So I'm not really in a position where I would be like, ooh, oh my god, new package manager. Like, no, I'm pretty happy with what I have now. I wonder if I actually want this. I guess I do. You'll also be able to include a plethora of options, also declared functionally, as to not generate annoyances. So far, I fixed all of my annoyances. I have zero. I have zero annoyances right now. My annoyance was, god damn it, it's annoying to install stuff on Debian. And I have the solution. I do not use Debian anymore. I don't have problems anymore. Boom. So, I don't know, maybe it's just not yet type of thing. Probably, maybe. But like, on Arch, you're just fine. You know what I thought of recently? A terminal-based front end to chess.com, where instead of the mouse, you type in the move that you want to make. Like, for example, knight takes A, B, C, maybe C4, I think. It wouldn't take there, though. Knight C4. You then press enter, and it's like, alright, we moved your knight there. That would be so cool. Because for some odd reason, chess.com like struggles to matchmake me with anyone. So I just, every morning I run the gotcha of, will I be able to play chess or not? And usually not. Let's go to Prague, and now this is a very important step, naming this almost like temporary project. Ah, but it is for naught. Tell me, what guarantees do you have that thy configuration shall work on different systems? I don't, and I don't really intend it to. But 'tis. I don't intend it to. Don't care. Like, even if I do distro hop eventually, which I feel like if that was like an option, I would be noticing some annoyances in what I'm using currently, and I don't. I'm in love with it, so I'm fine. I can focus on the stuff that actually matters to me. But even if I do, I will not be switching to a non-arch derivative. And if it is an arch derivative, there are not many changes that I'll have to make. And I guess I'll just come to it when and slash if I will. So I don't particularly care if it does, because there are small things here and there that are still unpredictable that I would have to change. My dot files, especially the like system ones, my scripts directory for example, they're mostly only useful if I like reinstall my current system. Then they're like perfectly useful. But if I move anywhere else, they're more so there to express an idea, to make me remember stuff. I've heard terrible news. It seems that arch derivatives are indeed the systems which would hold the most unforeseen of changes. I guess so. Because they're updated so frequently, or at least are supposed to. I super don't plan to go to any distro, like any other distro. I'm in love with EndeavourOS, so I'm not at a point where like, oh, I jump so much, I have to somehow make that easier to do. No, I don't intend to jump. Instead of like using this, trying different distros, like I already have my sandcastle, you could say. Configuring my shell, my NeoVim, and stuff like that. That's where I like play and have fun. What I wanted out of Linux is just to have Linux and Arch. I have both now. So I don't particularly care. Whenever I hear about, oh, this new distro, it's so cool, it fucking changes the playing field, whatever, yeah, like NixOS for example. Like, okay, whatever. In the case that thou ever desires to change distribution, I have to recommend the NixOS. My experience with it has been formidably impeccable. Like, that's great, but you know, if you have a fish in your hand, don't trade it for another fish, you know? Like, I already have a fish. Like, I love this fish, I'm gonna eat it very soon. What? Hold up, what? I'm eating the fish, it's very tasty, I love it. I'm not gonna trade it for another fish, I already have fish. The reason why I decided to switch from Debian is because I had a terrible experience with Debian. So like I had problems that I wanted to solve, and EndeavourOS has been like amazing. What should we call this repository? Video scripts. YouTube video scripts. I think that's reasonable. That must be the most unexpected but incredibly descriptive analogy I have ever had the pleasure of experiencing. Thank you, thank you. I think one of my like advantages is my metaphors and analogies. I love using them. I think I'm the best at them in Russian, actually. Right, so YouTube video scripts. Essentially what we do here is we actually copy a bunch of these. Let's do it a different way. Let's copy them like this, and then just gr inside. Why there? Why there? gr, hold up, gr, g capital D. Let's just, okay, let's do this. So S, we search for any white space. Yeah, actually. White space and then everything. Boom. I am so smart. And we got the things, however, some of them, well, every single repository except one of them, yeah. And then we %sign normal mode, start from the start, gh repo clone, I'll tell you more after we clone all of them. Yeah, let's just write the entire command here. Hello, which plugin is that? The one which puts the Vim commands at the top. The Vim commands at the top. Oh, that is the NeoVim extension. Let me show it. Yeah, that's just the VS Code NeoVim extension. I am in need to go and later return. I shall soon be thy guest again. I wonder what gimmick you're gonna have the next time. Alright, goodbye. The VS Code NeoVim extension, the way it works, is it uses a NeoVim instance under and basically uses it within VS Code to change text. Meaning all of the mappings work, all of the plugins work, like for NeoVim. Everything that you expect out of NeoVim probably works just as well in this extension. And I'm just using one of the features of NeoVim. Yeah, let's actually undo what I just did. YG capital G, go to the bottom, paste. I'm going to explain why I do that. I'm configuring my NeoVim for the first time and I'm absolutely loving it. I know, right? NeoVim is so powerful. And when you configure it, when you configure it and now you like got yourself a cool, nice new feature, it feels so good. For example, just today I recorded a video on one feature that I implemented on the previous stream, by the way, if you're interested in seeing how that happens. Basically, now I can move what's in my default register to some specific register. So just now I moved what's in my default register to the register A, and then I can access A to paste it. So sometimes you just do something like this and you're like, holy shit, that's so cool, you know? H repo clone, then we gh repo delete --yes, then we remove for real or French something get, and I think that should be it. Oh, and after it we git add everything, git commit dash m first commit, and git push dash origin main. And then we, yes, I am making all of the commands in VS Code, and then I'm gonna paste them in. It's a silly way of doing it. And remove, what's it called? YouTube video scripts. YouTube video scripts. And it's not even the most efficient way of doing it. I should have probably, let me actually show you. If I go to normal mode, say I do gh repo delete, and I do gh repo delete, and I'm like, oh, I want to edit this in NeoVim, I can go to normal mode, press V, and it opens NeoVim, where I could change my command. So that's the better way of doing it. Yeah. And then we remove also for real. Right, so now we just copy everything, and the fuck? The fuck? Oh. How interesting. How did that happen? Jesus Christ. Oh my god. GG capital G. Let's just put a dot here. Okay. Right, let's just do this again. I'm coding with your stream on. It's turning out to be a very relaxing experience. That's great to hear, thank you. Listening to some stream and coding and being like all comfy and like all that, it's so nice. It's like, mwah, you know. Let's not do something incredibly stupid, and let's not just commit and all that in the same command, but I'm fine with deleting all of them because I very obviously cloned them. Let's just trust it. So we clone first, second, third, and so on and so forth. And then it's going to start deleting them. And it did. What's our git status? A bunch of new directories which we can add with a program that I made yesterday. Gaff stage new. It's so nice, it's so useful. I mean, to be fair, what I could do instead, why are they files? Hold up. They're not. Well, that's super strange. I'm so incredibly confused. Oh, because they have git inside of them. That's so interesting. I didn't know that's how it worked. So usually when you add a new directory to your Git repository, what happens is you stage it, you stage the directory, and that also stages every file in that directory. So I expected this to work here in the same way, but because these directories are also Git directories, those directories themselves got staged, not the files inside of them. So the way we, I guess, deal with that. We remove for real anything /.get, and that will remove all the git directories of every directory that we cloned. We can look at the git status, git add everything. It's very interesting that, no, I guess my suggestion or presumption was incorrect. It's super interesting though. They're all staged, but the files inside of them aren't really. It's so like confusing. Oh, I know what we can do. We can git restore staged everything and git add everything. And now plus 66. Okay, so I was correct. Hold up. I forgot something. So all the readmes, all the other stuff, that is all fine. However, once we get to the C# project, it starts staging every like random bullshit. Yay! Yeah, so it wasn't supposed to stage all the NuGet packages, all the other stuff. Very easily fixable though. I just kind of forgot about it. Let's move to access modifiers and .NET new git ignore. You can do this, by the way, which is .NET new git ignore, and it creates a git ignore file, which you shouldn't fully trust because it does a very interesting thing. If we try to search for VS Code, it actually still keeps settings, tasks, launch, and extensions, which is surprising. I guess Microsoft considers these to like be important. They should be staged, basically. I don't think it's helpful for the project. So what I'm gonna do is norm, we go to the front, we add a comment and close the file. Now it should be fine. We go back and we stage everything. Learned something new today. If you try to stage directories that are also Git directories, they themselves get staged, not the files inside of them. That makes having a repository with repositories make more sense. It's pretty cool. Okay, now we have plus 40, which is still a lot. But that's normal, we just did a lot of stuff after all. Now we can GCR, which is my abbreviation for git add everything, which to be fair we just did. Then git commit -m with the message of first commit, and then we git push, setting the default pushing place. And we did that. Now, with the C# entire thing, we could just immediately delete it. But what we have to do now is go into the descriptions of the videos and edit the links. Now, you might ask, well, how do you get the links to all of those? Well, you probably won't ask it because you probably imagine that I would go on GitHub to go grab links, but no, I have my own tool for this. Let me show it. So I can gglf, and then I use pick, another one of my tools. Then access modifiers, so I pick a path, great. And I got a link to that path, which should by all accounts work. And it does, meaning that if this does, everything else does too, right? Yeah, so that is very convenient, isn't it? And we can continue on to xcp, which ends up being xclip-r selection clipboard to copy this link into my clipboard. Now, what I have to do is open the video, edit video, I guess. Great, it opens in the same tab, and edit the link. Boom. And since it's already pushed, like, it's gonna start working immediately. So if you want to watch my video on access modifiers in C#, you can, and you can still access the code that I wrote for it. Save. Fat arrow functions. It's yeah, I think it's my second ever video. It's kind of like interesting. You look at videos that are that old, you're like, wow, right? And here, in a very similar fashion, we go to our terminal, we gglf, we pick fat arrow functions, we xcp. Now, to be fair, I should probably be checking if these work, but let's look at the style, I guess. So we know for sure that access modifiers tutorial link works. I'm not sure whether numbers in a link is an issue or not. I doubt it. But just to be sure, let's gglf. Actually, let's do it even smarter. Let's browser, and then gglf, and we pick fat arrow functions. So this will automatically run the link in our browser. And if it's incorrect, it will tell us so. But it is correct, so it's super fine. And I'm surprised that even the README is shown here. I didn't think that's how it worked. That's brilliant then. So that is updated, and we save. And after we're done with this, my repositories on GitHub are going to be way cleaned up. So when you go through them, you actually see, for the most part, useful projects that you can see, like Uklaner, Guff, Chore Tracker. Let's not forget that, because I surely do forget it. It used to be very useful, but now I do things differently, and I don't really need it anymore. Let me show you what Chore Tracker is, for those that don't know. Chore Tracker list, and gives me basically stuff and how many days ago I did it. I washed my bed sheets 4 days ago, for example, and I changed my water filter 2 days ago, and I changed the coils in my green and white vapes. I have 2 vapes, yes, both 10 days ago. So Chore Tracker is a program that you can use to track your chores, which you could probably guess from the name. Yeah, it's pretty nice. But it's just that now I don't track my chores, I just do them when I feel like it, which is why this program is not as useful to me anymore. But it may be useful to you. Right, so make your script run on startup. Okay, so we just gglf script, yes, xcp, come here. Yeah, so this process is actually more convenient / easier than I expected it to be. This video is funny. It's not fully seen, but in this thumbnail of the video, like the title of the video is "Forget about using WinSpy now," and in the corner of the thumbnail it's like the meme where the dude with lightning eyes says, "Do something now." A person suggested that to be a meme, and this is one of the 2 only times where my thumbnails have an extra thing to them. This is the first thing it ever happened, and then in another video I put the profile picture of Descalada because it was a feature video. Some trivia, and all of my other videos just have a very clean style that I keep consistent. Right, okay, let's ggplf another thing. Now, forget about WinSpy. WinSpy, just grab the link, XCP, boom. Tutorial on arrow functions. Now I wonder if this link works. I could fix it, and why not, right? Arrow, yes. Let's GL, and it seems, go away mouse, F, yes, so it is a working link, which is kind of surprising to me actually, the fact that I didn't miss it. Fucking based answer. What are you talking about? I have no clue. Okay. GGLF, now a clock. And the name of that project is pretty damn simple. It just says clock. Which is sort of funny. Like, it's just clock. Like, no explanation or better naming. No, it's just clock. That's it. Function objects. Next clip. Hold up. Fuck. It remembers. I didn't think it did. That is a working link because I remembered it. To be fair, we don't necessarily have to keep pasting things over, because let's get a link for this once. So static gglf static so YouTube video scripts tree main and a slash, and here a very similar thing. Yeah, so what we could do is just paste this, which will always be the same, and that fixes the link. It's a faster way of doing this. It's not that I'm particularly like trying to be as fast as possible. You can probably hear that from the amount of energy from my voice, but it's close to the time that I should be sleeping at. And I'm just kind of doing some important thing that doesn't require a lot of energy to chill out and feel some sort of accomplishment for the day, like, yay, I streamed, Yeah. So that is done actually, which is very convenient, because now when I look at my repositories, they can almost fit on one page. And if we change how, hold up, yeah, if we change where chat is and run this again, no, that can't quite, no, oh no, oh no, 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 there's another, oh yeah, yeah, they don't fit, not even close. I thought maybe they almost fit. No, they don't. But now we have YouTube video scripts that contains all of them, and we have CS homework that contains all of my shitty C# projects. Well, okay, I underestimate them. They're not shitty necessarily, just nothing burgers, you know? If you want to see how good I am at C#, you should probably look at Short Tracker or Alien Temple, which I'm currently working on. Yeah. And if you want to see how good I am at Rust, use a cloner or Guff. Okay, but imagine that with those two sentences, I just randomly caught a recruiter that just so happened to click on the stream. And then I say that, and then they're like, oh, really? I guess I should check you out. Congratulations, you can now work for VS Code. Because, by the way, that's my dream job. Like, I dream to be able to work to make VS Code better, because I love that editor so much. Who's this Axel Flavier Kitty? And where do I slide in? God damn. DMs, I guess. I have an internal feeling that I should announce my arrival, or rather my pre-announced return. What an interesting way to phrase it. Pre-announced return. About chat being active, by the way, I feel like chat by OBS existed. Am I crazy about that? What is studio mode? I'm so scared of... maybe. I don't know. Up to you. What is... it's probably not what I want, right? No. Fuck studio mode. In OBS, I think there was chat that you could use, at least on Windows. Maybe it's not on Linux. It's in the description, cutie. Text. We can just put text, huh? Window capture, scene. All right. Okay, maybe like, okay, help, probably not. Docs, so scene transitions is not it. Stats, probably not. View, maybe it's a Windows specific thing. It's probably not in settings either, because I would have saw it otherwise. Is there like maybe something, oh, open chat, and so on and so forth. All right, I'll talk to you later. yeah, maybe it doesn't exist on Linux because I don't like chat in a browser. It has a few issues. Let's go over them. First of all, it's very unnecessary and annoying. This is also pretty unnecessary and annoying. And if we make this window bigger, well, I guess that's fine, but also not perfect. Okay, yeah, so I want to have a replacement for where I see chat. Right, so I have YouTube video scripts, CS homework, and then a bunch of other stuff. Oh right, I forked fish shell. What we're doing here is organizing my GitHub. I used to have a bunch of different single projects with C#. And they were kind of annoying. Like, if you go to my repositories, you would see a lot of them, and you couldn't really see my actual. I suggest simply using a superior browser to solve your issue. Furthermore, the OBS chat is simply an Electron implementation of the same website. I don't care that is that. I just want something to look like better. I don't necessarily care that it's an Electron app. I mean, come on, I use VS Code. Like, I don't care whether it's Electron or not. So yeah, now all of those C# repositories are in a single repository called CS homework, except some of the ones that are at least somewhat impressive, right? And the same thing goes for my YouTube video scripts, also in one repository. And all the other stuff that you see here, like dot files for example, I think it's somewhat impressive, maybe not, but like you could go in and look at it and see that it's kind of massive at this point. And what we can do is go to dot files and use Tokay to look at how big it is. So what do we have here? We have language, files, lines, code, comments, and blanks. We have, oh wow, I have 623 lines of code in Fish, 1200 lines of JSON, goddamn, 600 in Lua. I'm surprised that I have less Lua code than Fish code. That's kind of crazy. 0 markdown. Or I guess, yeah, it wouldn't be code now, would it? Comments, blanks, okay. Python, I'm so surprised, but I shouldn't be. That's simply NeoVim better than VS Code. Well, okay, let's think about this. If by itself, then yes, NeoVim is better than VS Code. So NeoVim by itself versus VS Code by itself. But VS Code is not by itself. VS Code has the NeoVim extension. So you can just have NeoVim in VS Code, and all the features that you want from NeoVim, you can now also use in VS Code. And with that, like considering that, you might as well use VS Code. I suggest you to use Vivaldi or alternatively Vieb to have proper control over your browser. The former has great control over appearance, and the latter possesses great control over its input methods. I've heard a lot about Vivaldi. Where, how? Well, let me show you. You can install this extension, VS Code NeoVim. Am I that behind? Well, it's surprisingly not that talked about. I'm not even sure how I discovered it. It's possible that I was just searching extensions and came across it. Um, yeah, so you're not behind, it's just not really talked about for some odd reason because it's amazing. And I have a whole playlist on it if you want to like learn more about it. Yeah, so the way it works, it uses a NeoVim instance for VS Code, meaning you just have NeoVim and you essentially change your text in NeoVim, but all the insert mode stuff and other stuff are handled by VS Code. It's a very nice balance. They intertwine between each other and you get to have a really good experience. I greatly encourage you to look into VS Code NeoVim playlist. Yep, yeah. Ever since I discovered it, like, it's amazing. The things that you can do are crazy. So most people know the Vim extension, like the default one, I guess, and it pales in comparison to this amazing extension. This extension existing is the reason why I haven't yet tried Obsidian, for example. Still, VS Code's slow as hell. I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of slow. To me, if something has enough features and feels nice enough, then the fact that it isn't immediate, it's fine to me. Like, for example, that it can be pretty slow to open a project. I'm fine with that because once I open that project, for example, for C#, then I can just press tab infinitely to code my entire project instead of actually needing to think. Like, that's powerful as hell. And you could probably argue that, oh, you can do the same thing in NeoVim. Yeah, but how? On VS Code, what I have to do is just install a few extensions, boom, done. And in NeoVim, I don't know how to do that. I don't, you know? Shall one day create a NeoVim plugin to co-edit with Obsidian in a manner that is simple. I'll show you simple. Sounds like a threat. It isn't. You said no to Obsidian? Oh, me and you are gonna fight. I know that, like, I feel like every other person loves Obsidian, and I'm sure it has amazing reasons to be loved. It's just that I now cannot use anything that doesn't have the NeoVim extension. So everything except VS Code I just don't use. Because the NeoVim extension is just that fucking good. So unless an application has like support for a NeoVim instance, I'm not going to use it because what I have now is just that good. And far later, have an Obsidian integration of NeoVim. Yeah, that would be amazing. You have Vim and Obsidian. Hun, you're forgetting a very important detail. That is a Vim like overlay, Vim like implementation. It's not an actual NeoVim instance that would have plugins. And let me show you how many plugins I have, by the way. I have, let's count them basically. So we already have, what, 13? One is counted out, so 12. 13, 14 plugins. 14 plugins, and some of them rely on some very specific things to work that maybe aren't implemented, for example. So plugins, and then, no, not that. Let's go to VS Code mappings. I have a lot of mappings in NeoVim that call VS Code commands. I also wouldn't have them, and so on and so on. Basically, I don't want just Vim integration. I want what I have, which is difficult to replicate for another application like Obsidian. It would be silly to expect it to, but this is just way too good to pass up, essentially. I thought, change to my keybinds. Greatly suggest you to use VS Code alongside Obsidian, tiled side by side in camaraderie. That, although it new of him has been my only passable manner of usage of Obsidian, which I am greatly enjoying. I can see that. I can definitely see that. But I guess I don't really edit Markdown that often. There's a big chance that I come to Obsidian eventually. But I guess I'm not interested right now. Yeah, I guess that. Right, so GitHub stuff cleaned out. Obsidian is just too good for Zettelkasten method not to use. What is that? What is that weird word? Is that the like connections, I guess? What I imagine is the case is that you can reference your Markdown stuff as essentially links to files and then open them, and they're like all in a huge interconnected tree, and that's great and amazing. That's a brilliant idea, but I would get caught up on trying to implement my keybinds to efficiently navigate them, and would eventually be too annoyed with all the configuration that I have to do, and discard the idea to use it, you know? What do you mean? What, you don't know this random, probably not existing word? How dare you? Oh, come on. I shall now feast. I say my goodbyes, and I have a great day and week for us all. Have a nice feast. Oh my god, Mr. Beast! I'm not German. I don't know what that is. This random ass word. So the funny thing is, that's the only thing that I wanted to do, and I did it. I could also like publish gaff, but I'm like too tired to think about it, because I should probably go through the code again, understand it, and then publish. I'm from Russia, and well, still in Russia, unfortunately. Look it up after. It's a great way to store notes and learn. Is that like Anki? Yeah, I'm too tired in my brain to be able to like look at code and understand where to improve it, and then improve it, and then publish. Publishing right now would be a silly idea, I think, because you know how it goes, like you publish and then you recognize, oh, this small thing that I also have to change, and then you publish again is just gonna yeah. Do you know why it's called Mother Russia? Because nobody has a father here. It's a dark joke, which is like strangely true. Whenever I see a person that has a father that loves them, I don't believe them. I just don't believe them. Like, you're lying. Like, I understand this fantasy, sure, go ahead, you can have it, but come on, be real. You have a father and he loves you? That's crazy. That's so fucked up yet so funny at the same time. I know, right? I think it's kind of hilarious. I guess that's how I deal with it, with humor. I'm surprised that you can put your cursor here. I never used the mouse, so I didn't know. Right, another thing that I would have to do for Guff is write a readme. Neovide is that GUI application for NeoVim, right? I heard about it. I heard that it's basically, oh, this is a GUI, which means that you can now use GUI elements in NeoVim, like smooth cursor, for example. So I've heard about it, but I don't need it because I have VS Code. It's like Neovide supercharged. Many would argue too supercharged, like too much. And it's a fair point, but VS Code can do so many things, and I actually use a lot of them. Did you know that you can actually compare active file with clipboard? Isn't that just cool? It's just one example, and I'm not going to give you any more because it's the only example that pops into my head. Let me show you a cool git motion. When you search for something by pressing slash, let's type in symbols. Usually you will appear at the start. But if you type in symbols /e, you end up at the end. You have no clue what does that do. Okay, let's copy this to my clipboard and compare active file with clipboard. And it shows you a git diff window of, yeah, the comparison. So these are the same, and this is what's different from your clipboard. I never use it, but it sounds helpful. I know, right? And in the Vim extension, that is probably not supported. Another thing, what we can do, we press colon, then G. What should we do here? So I can show you the example nicely. Okay, instead of G, let's use V. Then finish. Finish D. I think that's how it works. Yeah. Boom. So essentially how this works is you search for finish, then you revert, or you toggle your search to basically search for everything that doesn't have finish, and then do the delete action, which is pretty cool. So all my NeoVim config goes to trash and I need to go to VS Code. Definitely not. I wouldn't say so. But I personally think that if you are already on VS Code or have used it, you might as well continue, because there are so many useful features here that you would have to think of how to implement in NeoVim otherwise. And VS Code just has them. Like the perfect example, I think, is my example with C#. So to start working in C#, all I have to do, install this extension, this extension, this extension, this extension, and this extension, which, to be fair, could be used as a point against VS Code, but I install all these extensions, and now I have incredible support for the language. I don't need to configure anything really. I'm a web developer, how much do I need? Honestly, a lot, and VS Code is your best tool. I've heard this time and time again. VS Code is like very good for web dev. NeoVim is more fitting if you're doing some like maybe backend stuff or basically stuff that's not web dev. If you're making something pretty or stuff like that, VS Code is definitely going to be your friend because of all the numerous extensions that it has to make web dev easier. I don't like web dev. I'm not really interested in it. So for me, NeoVim should probably be closer than it is for you. But I still use VS Code because of the features. Like there's a lot of miscellaneous stuff that, sure, maybe you have a way of doing some other way, but it's a lot to figure out when in VS Code you can just type in a command. I know, let's say you want to do something you've never done before, like, I don't know, let's merge. Boom. You can search for it and do it here. Thank you for trashing web dev. It's not exciting at all. It's, I don't know, it's uninteresting. Like websites, I don't like using my browser. Or rather, I would rather do everything in a terminal. That's the type of developer that I am. So like, for me to make a website is just counterintuitive, you know? Like, why am I making a website? I should be making a terminal application. You see where I'm going with this? Or what I would have to do is implement fucking Vim on every single website I have, which is like not gonna happen. Yeah. That's farther or less Russian coming out of you. Probably. Probably. That's what happens. You're fatherless. Then what happens? You use Linux. You write programs in Rust. Then you notice that you suspiciously want to wear thigh highs and you realize that you're trans. Then what else do I have? I haven't yet become a furry, which is somewhat surprising to me. Like, the time is ticking. So that, oh, I use Arch, by the way. That, I forget, what's the like stereotypical trans behavior? There's probably something else that I'm forgetting right now. Oh right, fucking NeoVim. Also, there should be tmux, but I'm not fully sure what it does. Archflex, love it. And it's a strange flex too, because I use Arch, by the way. The place that phrase originates from is that it used to be difficult to install Arch. So people said, I use Arch by the way to flex, like they're good enough to install it. Now keep in mind, I didn't actually install Arch, I installed an Arch derivative called Endeavor OS, and it was very easy to install. Great installer. So now it's a nothing burger type of flex. I have Arch on my old laptop. Nice. It's too easy. Do you have like actual Arch or an Arch derivative? Like, I was too scared to install actual Arch. Like, what if I fuck over my system? God damn. I don't know, that's still impressive to me. I haven't even attempted it because sounds scary. Because you have to know what to do, and I don't. Wizard of Oz. So, yeah. Now I say I use Arch, by the way, simply because I think it's superior, which is, like, I know it's a silly standpoint to have, but like, come on. I don't have to even know what anything is called to be able to install it. How cool is that? Paru, and then, I don't know, I want to fucking install anything, fucking anything. I just type it in here, I select it, boom, it's installed. No random fucking, oh, install this Debian package and install it by double clicking bullshit. Use Windows 11, by the way? Why? Hun, why would you do that? Not even 10? Hello? Why? Like, switch to Linux, come on. Or maybe, do you use it a hotkey maybe? Because I haven't been switching to Linux for a long time, specifically because I was reliant on a hotkey. But even then, Linux is worth it. What do you mean come to the dark side? Of using Windows? I just left. Hell no. Hell no. I'm not about to rip my head up. I do use WSL though. Well, of course. I think if you don't use Linux in any extent, god damn. Like, I think it's difficult to be a programmer and not use Linux at all, because it's so convenient. Is Linux better than Windows, I suppose you mean? Yes, with an asterisk. Linux is not for everyone, and it's a thing that you specifically have to want to actually enjoy getting. Because the installation experience, depending on the distro that you pick, can be painful, potentially. And you have to want Linux enough for that to be worth it. And then once you install it and configure it to your liking, it's so worth it. But if you're like, I don't know about Linux, it may be a painful experience if it just so happens that you install it and it was difficult to do. So basically, if you're interested in Linux, try it out on WSL or in a virtual machine, and once you're interested enough to actually install it like fully, do it. or you can dual boot too. Cat or koala. Why did I pronounce it that way? Cat, definitely cat. Meow, meow, meow. Meow. I have 3 cats, by the way. Imagine. I can't. It's still a wild concept that I have 3 cats. By the way, the idea for today's thumbnail, cat is just the GitHub logo, kinda. And I should have thought of octopus as the second emoji, but I just saw koala. I was like, well, okay. And picked koala. I am doing what people would usually call stalling. Like, I don't have anything low energy requiring to do. Like, you can look at tasks. I'm not about to make a readme. I can barely speak. I'm not about to write. And I'm not about to work on a project. It's too difficult for my brain. Procrastinating, yeah, I guess. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, like, streaming is very enjoyable. Let me try to think of things I can show off and teach. Something about NeoVim. Do you know about G capital M? It moves you in the middle of the line. And it takes account. So you can go to 70% of the line. Sorry, I do not speak that language. I don't even know what that language is. But I'm not American, I'm Russian. I know pretty much nothing. Well, fucking strap in. That is an unintended pun. I have a lot I could show you. So yeah, G capital M, somewhat useful. So you can use $sign to go to the end of the line, right? You can actually give a count to it. You went 3 lines down to the end of the line. And in a similar way, if you do something like, let's actually do it like this, and then you give a count to, usually this would be underscore, but for me it's something else. I forgot, but yeah, that would move you to the start of the line, some lines down, in the same way that that the $sign does. But there is a better way of doing it. You can do 5 plus to go 5 lines down to the start of the line. Let me try to open some code. Let's go to Gav, open it in VS Code. Boom, new window. Oh, it gets opened in the correct place. That's crazy. Okay. Right, so we have some code. What's the difference between just JK for moving and plus and minus? So here I'm pressing J and K, right? When I press plus, we specifically go to the start of the line. And same thing with the minus. So that can be pretty convenient. We can do something like 6 plus to go there. Then what we can do, what if you want to delete until the end of the line but keep the last character? what you can do is dv %, and that will work with other stuff too. Like you can yank v capital capital 4, I wanted to say, $, and that will do what you expect. So without the last character. Works with C and basically everything, every operator it will work with. I have a plugin to mimic this behavior though, and the video where I explain how this works more specifically is called Make DB Work. Basically, say you have a few words, you are on the end of the word and you want to delete this word, and you try to use DB, the last letter still stays, which is pretty annoying. But if you use DVB, you take it too. Let me drop a fat sub. Okay, go ahead, because I don't think I have like imagine like on Twitch, you know, subscriptions. I also changed my profile picture today. I was so tired I was tired off looking at my previous profile picture. It looks good by itself, but I don't like looking at it in context. So now I'm like a cute mountain, pink mountain. How's my PFP? It's unintelligible. It's hard to understand what it is without looking very close. And I imagine that's you in a blue shirt with your head cut off. Hello. Basically, I finished organizing my Git repositories, and now I'm just shooting the shit, kind of just explaining random stuff in New Vim. I shouldn't have asked. Did you know that you can give a count to F and T motions? You could do something like 2F colon to go to the second next colon. What kind of developer do you want to be in the future? C# dev or Rust dev? Ideally Rust dev, but most positions ask for C#. So I'm probably going to become a C# dev. But if I can find a position that asks for Rust, that will be amazing, because I like that language more. Yeah, but at the current time, I build projects in both C# and Rust. In Russia, or you want to move? I definitely want to move, very much so. But I'm gonna start with having a job in Russia, then somehow figuring out how to move, then having a job in another country, or better yet, if I can do that, have a job in another country and then move. Something like working on compilers and stuff of that difficult nature, where you have to stare at the same code and kind of kick it in the nuts, and it kicking you back throughout the whole day. That entices me incredibly. And this is what I'm talking about when I say I don't like web dev. it doesn't have the same feel to it. Sure, web dev can be very difficult in many places, but it's not the same type of thing, I guess. Something, hyper specific, where I have to know and specialize in many small details and be a master at it. Yeah, I guess I want to become a developer that is a very good, like, master of a very specific thing. I like specializing a lot. Or another path that I could see myself taking, but that I don't think exists, a master configurator. I love configuring shit. If I can just do it for a job and get paid well, that would be amazing. Like, maybe I just people pay me to help them configure NeoVim, for example, or Fish and so on. I'm more aesthetic, so backend doesn't interest me. That's super fair. That's great. I'm more of a backend kind of girl. Yeah. I paused because I realized what I said. Yin and yang, I agree. Talking about ampersand, the most fucking useless thing in NeoVim, it's somewhat useful. So, say you make a replacement, do something like HTTPS, and you replace it with dog. I just don't quite understand how you're going to be a C# dev on Linux. Like, you can. Just have to work with .NET Core, and that's it. Just know .NET Framework, and that's it. Plus, you can still have like a working compiler for another system, I'm pretty sure. And in a compiled language, you don't necessarily have to like run the code fully to have it tested to work. But for the most part, just .NET Core that is cross-platform, and boom. Right, so say we make a replacement of some kind. We can then press ampersand to do it again. Cool, I guess, but I never really find it that useful, because what I would usually do, see, I have this searched for. I usually just cgn, change it, and then just press dot, and that moves me as well. My messages are being sent but not visible in your chat. How interesting. I was only able to send part of my message. Yeah, YouTube does that sometimes, which is very annoying. And it's out of my control too. Like, my list of blocked words is empty. Yes, YouTube sometimes just decides not to send some messages. And I don't want to stream on Twitch because I would ideally want to be watched by at least some people, you know? And all my audience is all my audience is on YouTube. So running to Twitch wouldn't make sense. Ah. My bottle almost fell. Using pure VS Code, or one of those privacy free with VS Codium, I do not care at all about my privacy. Like, whatever. Steal my nudes. Go ahead, I don't care. So, pure VS Code. I've heard people talk about like, oh, VS Codium, you should definitely install it. There's like no reason for you to not to, but I really don't care. I understood that you're going to be a .NET cross-platform dev. In that case, only pity you, because there are very few such vacancies. Really? Most companies use .NET Core now. Yeah, like those that I see, .NET Core, .NET like at least 5, and at least 5 is already core. No, even 3 is already core. Yeah, like if it's a .NET Core thing, it's fine. If it's framework, then I can probably still figure out a way. But C#, I'm hoping, is not my final destination. My final destination is going to be with a better language than C#. Ideally Rust, but maybe I'll discover more cool languages along the way. Maybe like Go, for example, or Zig, or something like that, you know? 70% of C# jobs or WPF development just for Windows. The first time I'm hearing about it, because the positions in my country, I see WPF very rarely. Like super rarely. So I think it's a matter of like, it's a country by country type of thing, where in different places, different technologies are used for different things. So, where are you from? I'm learning it now and really like it. Yeah, I imagine so. I've heard like that it's like pretty well liked, and that it's like pretty damn good. So, you know, I'm interested in it on the side. Like, I'm looking at it. Same thing about Kotlin, by the way. Kotlin sounds pretty interesting. I wonder what else cool thing can I show you about NeoVim. I'll suggest you Cursor AI VS Code based Ghost editor. Okay, Cursor AI. That's funny. What's this? That's pretty cool, by the way. Build software faster in a editor designed for pair programming with AI. Now that sounds like a disaster. Like something to rely. Ask the AI about Cursor. Sure, that. Cool. Ah, it's a fork of VS Code. That's pretty fucking cool. Wow. And I'm just expected to believe it. Maybe I'm too cynical, but like, I don't care if companies store my data. I just don't trust that they don't when they say it. Right, my question is, but this isn't free though, probably. Like, you're not just going to give me good AI for free for nothing, because I don't have like GitHub Copilot. Every code editor add fast also is a fork of VS Code. So sure, it's fast, but only when you compare it to something like Visual Studio. Freemium, yeah. And I can't even consider these like cool options because I'm in Russia and I literally cannot pay for things. I am unable to. Even if I have the money, I have no way to pay with that money. So I want to pay for Spotify, for example, right? What? That's strange. Let's yeah, so I want to pay for Spotify and I can't. I want to pay for YouTube Premium, believe it or not, but I can't. I want to pay for a cool, good VPN. I can't. And I end up, for all of these three things that I just listed, I end up having to either install some hack or pay for a stolen account that I can use and stuff like that, when in reality I would rather just honestly pay. I just don't have a way of doing it. I had the same problem, right? It's like come on, like, take my money. Spotify Premium Flex. Like, ever since Spotify came out in Russia, I immediately started paying for it, and then they fucking left for understandable reasons, but like, now I can't pay for it. Like, I would probably have these downloaded or something if I had premium, but now what I have to do is just use a hack, basically. And Spotify Premium is very cheap in Russia. Right. I'm showing you my playlist. Check it out, by the way. Let me share you with you. Oh, I'm in some hard shit. I'm in stuff that goes hard. Like what? Necro trap metal. Yeah, those. So this playlist probably explains the best what type of music that I like. Just found someone who renews it for me with a Turkish card. See, yeah, like, finding people that are like willing to help you out in the situation is so like helpful. For example, I have access to ChatGPT 4, which I would usually not have access to, but thanks to one very kind person, he's literally paying for my ChatGPT use, which is like so nice of him, and I get to use it. It's like, wow. You hardcore G's. Yeah, exactly. I love that music so much. It's so hard. Let's do a certain maneuver. I thought I was hard. I know, right? So I know it's sort of lame of me to do, but like, when I see people say they listen to hard shit, I'm like, yeah, sure, you know. Like I don't believe them, because I mean now you know what I listen to. You're really lucky. I wouldn't mind one of those either. I have a solution that may work for you, and it's not as good because it's ChatGPT 3.5, but in the terminal you can paru tgpt to install it if you're an arch, and I don't remember if you are. So tgpt, and then you can tgpt, I think dash I or something, and then you just type in your prompt, and it uses ChatGPT without needing an API key. So it should work in Russian. I'm into underground shit, Ghostmain, Suicide Boys, Harper. I know all of them, and I've been in this scene for so long that they're the classics to me. Maybe not Harper. He's like on the fence for me. Right, let me like enable my headphones. Right, so Ghostmain, definitely like a legend. Suicide Boys, for me personally, even more so. Harper, he makes good music, I guess. You know, is my opinion on him. He's, okay, gonna be real, he's kind of lame. Having found all of the other artists, in comparison, he's lame. But at first he was really cool. I'm on Mac OS. Oh, I see. Suicide Boys is really fucking good. Yeah. They're incredible, but they're also so popular in comparison with other artists. Like, I'm the type of person to listen to a rapper that has like 3 followers. Let's actually look through my... No. How can I look through my artists? Machiavelli God, Freddy Dread. I tried listening to him, but I don't know, he was kind of boring to me. Machiavelli God is amazing. I love him for a very simple reason. He's correctly goofy. He's correctly goofy, you know? He says such goofy lines with a straight face, and it works really well. How do I look at my subscribe? Oh, here we go. You have a free Spotify plan right now. Yeah, but, well, since I'm in Russia, I get no ads, and I get all the features, I guess. Zimar, for example. Okay, he has a lot. So not a good example. Di Perry, yeah, I would imagine he would also have quite a lot. Who's like pretty unknown? Correctly Goofy, that's a first. That's like a 100th to me. You can look at Sinister, for example. If we look at Sinister, and all of my liked tracks by him, you look at like most tracks, you like okay, let's try this. I'm gonna turn on desktop audio. Let's try to listen to a track by Sinister, right? Tell me if it's too loud or too quiet. Let's just see what happens next. And whether he's predictable at all or not. So quiet, you say, okay. That's a bad thing for me. Okay, that sucks. Why is this fucking... Ew. Okay, bad example. Okay, okay. Basically, oh, okay, this should be a good example. Who goes first there? Santa Santana. Okay, too long then. Amazing track, by the way. I'm trying to give you an example, basically saying that Sinister sounds exactly the same in every single track, and that is correctly goofy. But now that I look through tracks, I can't find... Okay, this should be good. Bearded Legends goes there first. Okay, this one is good. Okay, that should be a... Yeah, probably because that's what funk is. True! I mean, it probably is in that genre. Yeah, it fits. If you want to listen on your phone, you're going to run into a lot of problems. Not really. And that is exactly his flow in every single track of his. He never fucking changes it. He releases a new track, boom, it's exactly the same thing. Again and again. I have that one saved, Bearded Legend Dynamite. I know that it is... I have... Hold up. So there's a track called Hold up, what? Dynamite by Haze, and... Hold up, no. Let's go to the album. This album cover was actually drawn by my friend, believe it or not. I know this Dynamite. If you're talking about some artist, I don't think I know him. Or maybe I do. Yeah. So I like Sinister a lot, but because he's correctly goofy... Woo! But he sounds the same. Oh, Dynamite by Bearded Legend. I dislike Bearded Legend a lot. His music is amazing, but I hate his voice. Yeah, I guess I don't, right? I don't. On one hand, it's a good thing, because fans will never say it used to be better. That's so true. And no, I don't believe that's your friend's art. Okay, I'm not sure what to say. I think it has her, like, thing. Somewhere. Yeah, here, Xcurie, that's my friend. If you don't believe me, okay, I'm not sure what to say then. And I think it's not the only cover that she made. To add, I used to make music in this genre, in like trap metal, but that I'm not going to show because it's not great. We could like turn on music if you guys want to. And then I'll try to... Of course you do. Of course you want to hear it, but like, that's too loud. How does this sound in terms of like volume? Too quiet, too high? Because I have kind of no clue. Yeah, so I used to... Perfect? Okay, that's amazing. In that case, I'll keep volume like this, because it seems to be good. Okay. I used to scream rap. It was very enjoyable. because at that time I was very angry at the world. I still am, but in different ways, I guess. This fucking dude, which, how you pronounce his nickname is apparently Bad Lad, which is just crazy, because this is nothing else except VOD. It's literally just VOD. And he's quite great, but his, like, British thing gets annoying after a while. Is that racist to say? I don't know. Right, by the way, I have 50 playlists. Because I have 5,000 tracks liked, and if I try to shuffle this, I keep coming onto the same songs, and it's just kind of annoying. Can I get your Discord? I wanna ask you a couple questions after the stream. Oh, that's great, thank you. Sure, like, my Discord nickname is in the description. Only in NA. Oh, only not in North America, I see. Or do you mean something else? No, I think... No, yeah, I think Americans like bullying British people. Like, it's funny. And to be fair, it is. Yeah, so my nickname is in the description. Pretty sure. So you can definitely message me. You're cool too. Before it switches to the next track, let me show one of my absolute favorite tracks, and it probably shows off how hard I like my music to be pretty well.
Yeah, you fucking killed this.
You can't see me, but I'm bobbing my head right now. I'll write this down in the fucking notes that you did it first. The dude currently is Bronx 3. He's incredible. Exactly, I'm first. Oh, that's so nice. Cute voice are sliding into my DMs. And this is Guap Sensei. He used to be my #1 favorite artist for a long time. Now it's Sosmula, lol. And now it's gonna be Trash Punch. First of all, I'm straight, I think, or bisexual. I still don't get it. Basically, I'm into boys, and that would be straight, you know. In terms of games, what would you rather have? So you have two options. Would you rather have unlimited bacon but no games, or games, unlimited games but no games. Also, I don't get it. When I change my volume, is that reflected? It doesn't seem that way. Like, I think my volume and your volume are not connected, which is interesting to realize. Right? Am I correct about that? I'll accept it after the stream, and yours as well. Right, so games. I don't expect to ever open Steam when I'm streaming, so I'm not going to, because it would appear here and be annoying. But basically, I play nerd games. I have over 300 hours in Enter the Gungeon, which is an amazing like roguelike. By the way, I hate this track. How is it still in my liked? God damn. This dude is currently pretty bad, but then Zilakami is pretty good. As Zilakami does, being pretty good. Okay, I'm too rough. Any multiplayer? No, not at all. Even playing single player games, I get anxious. Multiplayer? No, definitely not, because if I get anxious playing single player games, multiplayer is just devastating, so I never really got into any. But I recently started playing chess, on and off, when chess.com lets me, and now it's the shitty part again. Oh, Sibir. This dude is legendary. He's crazy. And he's not even that hard specifically, but he is crazy. He makes very, like, interesting music. Shame, I thought we would play. I don't think we, like, even are able to, because I have a laptop that barely... I destroy your ass in chess. Destroy my ass somewhere else. I would rather be undefeated in chess. Why? Because chess doesn't load up, and that's why I'm undefeated. It probably would, like, I'm a 400. Do you know your ELO rating? I'll need to check out the VOD later so I can understand more clearly how loud this is. Because, like, I'm not exactly sure how this sounds to you, because it sounds different to me, you know? Probably 1,000, god damn! Do you blunder your queen? I think I do still. Am I 400? Maybe like maximum 500. Only on Fridays? What? Oh! you blunder your queen only on Fridays. Lol. One cool thing that I would be very interested in using is some terminal application that would be like chess, like, I don't know, right? You press chess and it gives you a terminal application to play chess in. So it would be a front end to chess.com, where to play moves you would have to type them in. Something like knight takes like b4, for example, and then you press enter and you play that move. That would be so fucking cool. To be fair, I haven't searched if it exists or not, but probably not, considering that why would chess.com have an API that's public? Is that too loud? Maybe like this? Being a streamer is so goofy, like, you have no clue about most things. Now, Corpse is a very interesting case because he mostly makes sad music, and I don't like sad music. Just sadness is not an emotion that I feel often. And when I do, I still want angry music. But this track is just so beautiful that it overrides me not liking sad music. Like, it's that good. Let me play something hard. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I think I know what you're talking about. He's pretty good too. Yeah, love Tommy. He's very cool. His music is very experimental. Actually, by the way, I feel very proud. Like, I feel very proud that every artist that you've named so far, I know. It's like, actually pretty proud. Yeah, I know so many people. Like, let's go to here and discovery log. So discovery log, this is public, by the way. They have so much in common. I'm proud of you too. It's rare to find someone that listens to this type of music, so I'm very surprised. 498 discovered artists. Like, imagine you just stand before a microphone and make this fucking masterpiece. And I don't really need to imagine because I used to do it. It feels so amazing. What I used to have, another hotkey, is basically a program to track what I listen to, and that's how how the fuck? You're gonna have to share some tracks with me. I definitely will. VAW. So this time was automatically like put in here. I used to use something like discover and then the name of the artist, and it would put the date here automatically in the file and commit it. And I want to re-implement it in C#. Delirium is amazing. And I don't think he's Russian, but he has a Russian delivery. I've told this like the whole time, but my friend like doesn't recognize it, doesn't see it, but I think for real, like, Delirium sounds kinda Russian. And Love Tummy, by the way, I completely ignored him in this track, but he's very, like, interesting, very experimental. Like, I haven't seen something like what he does before. Oh, 51 Trenches. He renamed himself, by the way, to USB Goth. So it's interesting that his old nickname is there. USB Goth. Yeah. USB Goth is amazing. Like You Fell Off, for example, incredible track. Also on the sad side of things is Pharaoh Russian. He is, yes. And he's like very known. He's very known in Russia. Like one of the most known artists. Like popular. Maybe not anymore popular, but yeah. This track is kind of lame, to be fair. Yeah. Especially that line. Christ Dillinger is also like sometimes correctly goofy, but often his tracks are so boring. Like, type of boring, you know? But I don't listen to any Russian artists except Mnogo Znal, who is homophobic and transphobic, which is very unfortunate because his music is very good, like incredibly good. If you want to listen to Russian music, like discover something, listen to him, definitely. But he's transphobic and homophobic for no reason. I watched interviews with him and he sounds like a smart guy, like deep, I guess, in a soul type of way, and you would think he would be smart enough not to be stupid, but I guess he isn't. Yes, correct, Mnogoznal, no much. Pretty much, that's how you interpret his name. His thing, basically, is that he can't sleep. So, we have a saying in Russia, Mnogo znal, malo spal. I knew a lot, therefore I slept not much. Oh, I thought you were American. How did you interpret it? How did you, like, understand it then? Thought you maybe, like, translated it. Where are you from? Let me guess. Serbia? Yeah, that's my only guess. Imagine if I guessed. It's similar to Russian. Yeah. Wait, no way. Did I guess? Ah, okay. That would be crazy. Magotsu is incredible, and he looks way too cute for what his music sounds like. Croatia. Oh, that's a cool country. That's a hella cool country. So there are cool countries and there are uncool countries. Croatia is one of the cool countries. Objectively. Like, right? You listen to this track and you're like, god damn. Right? If you can hear it. And you can. And then you look at him and you're like, why are you cute? You're not supposed to be. Dude has a yo in his name. Crazy. He is French? I'm just finding this out. He's French? That's crazy. Wow. Wow. Didn't know that. By the way, it's 4 AM right now for me. Almost 4:20. I guess you can see it. Right. Didn't recognize. Yeah. Almost 4:20. It's interesting. So when I'm streaming, you can pretty much always see what time it is for me locally. Huh, that's kind of cool. Here's my GAF program. It's 10:20 p.m. Okay. Now that's a reasonable time. I'm up and at a unreasonable time. What's cool is that our time difference is not that big, which is pretty convenient. I wish I had some way to make it so this window would only appear in windows that has other windows, you know? Yeah, why still up? Because yesterday I was also streaming for 8 collective hours, and I just kind of streamed until around 4 AM, more or less. Not too bad, close enough. Yeah. And, well, why would I go to sleep earlier today? I decided that the day wasn't, like, amazing. I was, like, all over the place for most of the day, and I wanted to do something that felt, like, accomplishing, I guess? That felt satisfying, yeah. So I decided to stream, and yeah. Like, usually on streams what happens is that I have, like, specific tasks that I want to do and show off how I do them. But here I did the task, but then the chat was still active, and I'm like, well, I don't particularly want to end right now, so I didn't. Now I'm showing you music. I'll never guess you're Russian. Thank you, that is a compliment. Right, your English accent is very good. Thank you. I trained it a lot, like an incredible amount, because as a Russian, like, you get judged for your English accent harshly, and I judged myself the harshest, and I trained it a lot to be as perfect as I could make it. And now I have some quirks with how I speak that I adopted as my personal brand, you know? So there are some words that I say a specific way simply because I want to, rather than because I can't. So I'm pretty happy with how I speak now, because usually I can tell. Same, yeah. Usually when a Russian starts speaking, I can pretty easily tell, oh, you're Russian, because that roughness in their accent is usually shines through. Yeah, for the most part, no matter how good a Russian's English was in my experience with interaction with Russians that speak English, I can still tell. And you can probably, yes, I am very soft. I guess that's what happens when you have very high standards for how good your English has to be to yourself. And plus, you have a YouTube channel. And plus, being trans, you think about your voice and how you speak even more. All that stacks up to be pretty good. What a cute track. It's very calm. Alright. I'm gonna end stream because I intend to also drink tea, maybe even eat. It depends on how much I've been streaming for. Yeah, I should probably eat as well. Thank you very much for joining the stream. We're gonna continue our conversation in DMs. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you liked the music. You probably didn't. Like, you did because you know what's up, but most people don't know what's up. Most people, when they hear, okay, one final banger, when they hear they don't like it, which is fair. So, goodbye!